I've always had a connection with the angels. And when I got to age 11, I went to a secondary school. I started to realize the case. I was different and I could communicate with the angelic realm. People come from like so many different backgrounds that want to learn to communicate with their guardian angels. People from the medical profession. And I've got consultants and doctors. Guardian angel has never been human, is assigned. The angels communicate through music, through numbers. They're using all the inputs that are available to you as a human being to receive that kind of message.
You could have given up, but you didn't. You could have stopped believing, but you didn't. You could have kept living their expectations, but you decided to make this life your own. And in turn, you're here. Hello everyone, today we meet in Ros Place. She is a Guardian Angel Communicator. Hello Rose, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Anna. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So let's start a conversation by exploring your personal journey of becoming the one that you are today. What led you to discover your true passion in life? How did it start for you?
That's a really great question. So, as a child, I was always very adventurous, very curious. I grew up in the 1970s, and we lived in a suburb of London. I grew up with my sister, and my younger brother, and our life was very kind of normal, very suburban. But I always found things. I found normal things quite challenging. I found school challenging, and I found the way that we kind of lived day to day, like every day being the same, just just blew my mind that that was what people did. And that caused quite a lot of kind of confusion in my family because I wasn't like everybody else. I was quite rebellious. I was always pushing. I always wanted things to be different. I was always asking why. You get those kids that are
Yes.
just like, why? And I think as a child, I was quite, for my time, I think I was quite a stretch for my parents. I was seen as quite a difficult child, actually. Didn't fit into a box. And that kind of continued throughout my childhood, my adolescence. And I used to do things like want to travel, want to move and live outside of where everybody else lived. When I was 16, I bought my first home. I left home, I bought an apartment, and then I went on to buy a house, and I moved away from where my family lived. And they just couldn't understand why you would do such a thing. Like
Yeah.
everything's here. Why would you leave here? Aren't you happy with here? And I think when you want to do things differently in life, people take it quite personally sometimes. They like see it as like, not exactly an attack, but a criticism maybe of them.
Right.
I've always been quite different. And I've always had a connection with the angels ever since I was born. Like my first memory is of angels. And until I was about age 11, I thought that I could see and do the same as everybody else. I didn't think that what I could do or what I could see was any different to what anybody else was experiencing. And when I got to age 11, I went to a secondary school, which is like where you go in England, you go like 11 to 16, you go to a secondary school. And
Okay.
I started to realize that out of my like primary school environment where we were all kind of playing and things that I said and knew could be kind of put down to like play or childishness or childlikeness was definitely not the case. I was different and I could communicate with the angelic realm. So I immediately didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want that ability. And that led to a period of real rebelliousness from age 11 all the way through, really, until my kind of like early 20s, when I completely left the life that I had lived to date. I met somebody and we went on a journey of living life very differently. And that kind of fast forwards me to where we are now as a family, living life very differently. We are currently traveling the world as a family. So that's me. So I'm 51. Eddie's
Mm-hmm.
52, nearly 53, and our two boys. So Zed is 19 and Manny's 14. And for almost 2 years, it'd be 2 years on the 9th of June, we've been traveling the world. And we've been
Mm-hmm.
doing that guided by my guardian angel, Tristan. And we've been through Europe. We've traveled and spent a lot of time in Latin America, so Central and South America. We're in Chile at the moment. And we do this with me doing what I love to do, teaching people how to channel and communicate with their own guardian angels, and also teaching people how to create their own life purpose businesses. Um, so that's kind of like a short version of my life, always different, always felt different. And now showing my own kids that you don't have to fit in to what everyone else tells you to do. Like Manny's 14, he has been homeschooled for a long time. And when I say homeschool, we have a very different way of wanting to help Manny to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Both boys have their own interests. They have businesses that they're growing, which are aligned with what makes them happy and excited, that's creative, but also wonderfully successful in other ways too. And yeah, if someone would have told me, like, when I was probably, if someone had told me when I was like at age 8 that I'd be doing that, I would have agreed. And I would have known that I would, but there were periods like later in my life when I was just like being told, you've got to be like this, and life's got to be like this, and you've got to do it like this, then I would have thought it was impossible. But once you break free,
Mm.
there's such an amazing world out there to explore. So that's where we are, Chile at the moment, Santiago.
Wow, I hope you enjoyed in Chile. And it's like fascinated to hear how you chose the path that was like not the social mainstream type of advice that you would receive. And you were kind of like you've known deeply inside of you that's not what you want to do, and that's not how you want to use your time, right? So you had that compass within you, and the ability to connect with your guardian angel, I believe, is the big part of your life and your path, and you've been guided towards your truest expression of who you can be in this lifetime, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. But for a long time, I didn't want the guidance of my guardian angel. For a long time, I spent pushing away from the gift that I had, the ability that I had, because it didn't take me in a direction that I felt I wanted to go. There was so much rebelliousness in me. There was so much
Mm.
also growing up in an environment where I wanted to be different or I knew I was different. I learned independence from a very young age, which is great. Like you heard me say, bought my first property when I was
Yes.
16, which is interesting because that in itself is really quite a kind of conforming step to take. But I wanted security and stability. And that's the interesting thing, actually. Even though we travel and we do all of these different things, see all these different places, security and stability, we have certain fundamentals, certain structures that we enjoy at home that are important so that we can all experience that safety, that feeling of peace, that feeling of home, that feeling of connection. But I didn't always want the guidance. And really, it took until I had our first son when I was 31 to
Mhm.
be really opened up, as I think can happen for many women when they have children. It is a physical opening up, isn't it? And that was when Tristan and I reconnected and allowing him more and more to guide us, support us, means that we know we're making good choices, means that we know we're not wasting time going in the wrong direction. Tristan's guidance is really specific and really clear, very detailed, and teaching other people how to do that themselves, get that level of guidance themselves. Is just incredible. And every single person that I mentor, and by the way, people come from like so many different backgrounds that want to learn to
Mm.
communicate with their guardian angels. That you might think that it's kind of spiritual people that want to learn how to communicate. I mentor people from all different walks of life, and this really makes me happy that people from all different backgrounds, But certain fields are becoming more and more interested in communicating with their guardian angels to get trustworthy guidance, clear guidance. People from the medical profession, I've got consultants and doctors who know there is more than their profession, than what they've been taught is telling them. And they are receiving the most incredible direction and guidance, writing books that is about new and kind of like unknown ways of us healing and improving our lives, and people from psychology backgrounds and field knowing that there's more to the mind. It's fascinating, and really scientific backgrounds. There's a lady in our program who she's part of this like massive like lab thing where they do all these tests on
Yes.
atom, and it's people know who that are awakening, that there is more to life than we have been told, and
Wow.
finding their own answers, their own truth, and applying that to their life and seeing the difference it makes. It gives people the confidence to want to start to live their lives in that way, and it's really liberating. So yeah, Trasan is a huge part of how we live our life. And it's something that everyone can do, access. Everyone has a guardian angel. It's learning how to connect and communicate that opens that door so that you can have that surety, complete confidence. I think so many people don't do things because they doubt that they're right, or it's going to go okay, or then people worry about making the wrong choice, doing the wrong thing. And I think that holds people in crappy jobs, crappy relationships.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, the same life because that's familiar and that's what they know. But what's incredible is when you have a source, the highest source of wisdom in your guardian angel with you in this lifetime. When you know how to communicate with them, you have absolute truth and clarity, and you apply that to your life and the confidence that that gives you, because the evidence you're given through the results that you get means that you do it more and more and more and more. And life is amazing. We've got so much choice in our lives, and we can
Yeah.
create so much that's magnificent just once we understand how to do it. And more people are hungry, thirsty for this truth. And it's great to see. It's like a movement. It's like people are waking up.
Yeah, I feel like there is a shift happening in the humanity as we speak, and there is like expansion of consciousness, and also with us being open to learn and receive different type of information that we were not taught. It's also another way of ours, like kind of going forward to expand more. And like you mentioned, every one of us has the ability to connect with a guardian angel. It's just, I think there's lack of information and knowledge who guardians angel are and what are their functions here in this lifetime in terms of helping us. If you can just tell us more about that for those who don't know anything about it. And I know you have a YouTube channel, and I've seen you have different type of videos for people to learn more, like Angels for Beginners, I believe. So,
Yeah.
and I would advise people to look into that material as well. But just like overview, who are they and how many do we have? And maybe some kind of, I don't know, practices that we could start applying into our life to be more aware of that possibility and connection, and what to look for in terms of signs of communication with the guardian angel.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So often when angels are spoken about, they're spoken about in a very personified way. So when they're depicted, guardian angels are often depicted in a human form, and the archangels, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, they're often depicted in a human form. Now, your guardian angel has never been human. Your guardian angel is assigned at the moment of conception. And this is really interesting. This started another whole conversation around when we actually become alive. You become alive at the point of conception, which is really fascinating to me. That's when the consciousness is fused. becomes the physical form. So at the point of conception, that is when your guardian angel is assigned. Your guardian angel is the vibrational frequency of your purpose, with you to remind you of and help you to accomplish your purpose in this lifetime. You're born with your guardian angel and you grow with your guardian angel, becoming filled with your life purpose strengths. So in terms of what they look like, they are oval concentric bands of light. And what that means is right at the middle, got the pure white light of source in your guardian angel. And then you've got another band, an oval shaped band, which is the beautiful strength of your inner strength. And so the bands go out. Most people have 5 bands or 6 bands. Some people have 7. I've only met 3 people that have 4, and I've only ever met one person that has 8. And that was a young girl, actually, fascinating young person. And those vibrational frequencies are colors. So if you can imagine a beautiful oval shape filled with light, lovely bands inside, and all of those are vibrational frequency. They hold an energy and a meaning unique to you, which is part of your purpose. And so everyone has them with them, their guardian angels, throughout their entire lifetime. Most people are completely oblivious. Most people have no idea. But they're still with them. That doesn't affect your guardian angel's connection. Once you know your guardian angel, their name, once you understand their vibrational frequency and their colors, that's the first point. That's really understanding, that's connecting. And then the communication comes through a process that Tristan actually taught, called the Channel of Clarity method. So I've written a book with Tristan called the Channel of Clarity method. It's on Amazon. And also, if you'd like, I can give your listeners a $1 coupon so that they can get a digital version of that book. And it teaches you a process to communicate with your guardian angel. And it's a very clear step-by-step process. And it is wonderful to share it with people. And in fact, it's fascinating because when Tristan first gave me the Channel of Clarity, it used to take people that I mentored a whole year. And now it takes less than 12 weeks. So it used to take 12 months. Now it takes less than 12 weeks. And in fact, we're even looking to launch the next kind of version of the Channel of Clarity program where it's even shorter. Because things, like you say, Anna, things are speeding up. People are awakening. There is a momentum and an energy of growth. So in terms of how you can begin that connection, it begins with, and the first step of the Channel of Clarity process is with the heart center. Now, I'm going to pull my jumper up. Don't worry, I'm not going to reveal anything. But what Tristan tells you to do, encourages you to do with the heart center state, is to put your thumb. So if I pull up my jumper here. If I put my thumb and my first finger under my collarbone, and then my palm is slightly cupped. Now you'll see that it's on my skin. And being on your skin is really important for many different reasons. It's a connection with yourself. It's very calming for the nervous system. It's a connecting with your heart center. And the connection begins by closing your eyes and saying 3 simple things to yourself. You say to yourself, I love you. I accept you for all that you are. I love you unconditionally. And then you call your guardian angel's light to you, that pure white light that I spoke about just a few moments ago, calling that light like a beautiful womb all around you. And then you ask your guardian angel to charge you with the light of each of your life purpose strengths, one by one. And then you create your channel of clarity. And the channel of clarity is how you communicate with your guardian angel, all the way from your heart center, all the way up through your throat, your face, all the way up through your crown, where your guardian angel will wait for you. And then through the simple process of breathing in and out through your nose, that channel of clarity is created. And once you learn how to do it, once you're able to, that's how communication arrives. And I teach people to communicate in a very specific way which is called verbal channeling. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people think about verbal channeling and they think it's like you're going to be speaking in tongues or you're going to be doing weird stuff. I think there are, and you're not, there are some channels who do quite peculiar things, in my opinion, to when they're channeling things which, yeah, are kind of unusual in terms of the way they position themselves, or maybe the way they speak, or the way that they present their guardian angel's guidance or a guide's guidance. Many channels have their eyes closed, and I have learnt to channel with my eyes open because it really does create a wonderful connection when you're able to do that. But to
Mm.
begin with, closing your eyes is a wonderful way of being able to stay calm and present. But also with verbal channeling, what it means is that you are speaking out your guardian angel's guidance. So I have a process where I sit down every morning. At the moment, I'm channeling a book with Tristan about the menopause.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. And I sit down and I go through the process of connecting with Tristan, and then I record what he says, and then I have that transcribed. And what that means is that when you learn to verbally channel, you're able to be completely separate from the process, completely free. I call verbal channeling, like I compare it to creating a spa-like space. Not only are you incredibly calm, and it is a real respite from being yourself for a few
Right.
moments, but the clarity of the information when it isn't interfered with, when you're not coloring it, when you're not involved in it, the capacity that you have to communicate things which you know nothing about. So, for example, writing a book about the menopause, I got an E for biology, right? So, medical stuff, scientific stuff, definitely not my strong suit. But a lot of it is that's coming from Tristan. So you're not limited by what you know, what you've learned. In fact, the less you know about something that you're channeling, the better, because there's more freedom. So that's what I teach, verbal channeling, and it's so much more normal than you would think it would be. You know, there are people, like I said, from that you would never expect it that they would be really like educated, academic, cerebral, smart, incredibly kind of, I don't know, in our society, revered individuals
Mm-hmm.
who seem to have followed a particular path, questioning, like, I've been told this, there must be more. That's what it is. It's not like, it's not about coming at things from a place of everything's wrong. It's like, there must be more. This can't be it. Um,
Right.
yeah, and so it's a great, that's what I travel the world teaching people to do. All, like you said before we came on, through my computer.
Mm-hmm.
You can connect people anywhere nowadays, can't you? It's such an open world.
Definitely, yes. And with that, um, clear guidance that you give and step-by-step process, it looks like it's just simple for everybody to learn. And I feel like a lot of times we overcomplicate this process in our mind and we don't even give ourselves a chance to try and see for ourselves how it's gonna work out. Because like we doubt really that it's possible, but people like you are example of what's possible, and you're utilizing that guidance every single day by channel verbally, and you give that clear guidance in your life. And how valuable is that, you know?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's on a day-to-day basis. It means that you can ask questions about anything that is a day-to-day matter. And it means that I can ask questions that my sons want to know answers to. So, like, they both know their guardian angels. They both asked to connect with their guardian angels, but they're not interested in channeling. They just
Mhm.
want to ask Tristan. And so they ask Tristan questions about all kinds of things, from like CTE to like, why is this part of my body hurting? You know, when they've been injured, when they're doing their jujitsu things that they love to do, to what's my next step to make progress in this particular area of my life. And there's such a resonance of truth that comes through, and they apply it and they see the evidence. So it's incredible to be able to do it for yourself and for others too. Um, yeah, it's just a wonderful it's a skill that you can learn and a tool that you are able to use to benefit yourself and to benefit others as well. It is it's so much fun, you know, it opens up life. And the thing is, it's co-creative. So when I explained to you before
Yeah.
about being really independent, like your guardian angel's never going to say to you, like someone said to me the other day, would my guardian angel say no? They don't say no, but they have a really good way of putting things that doesn't that you're most receptive to. So I was asking Tristan a question that I'd asked him before, and I hadn't taken action on the question that I asked him, and he just repeated the guidance that he'd given me last time. And it started the beginning of the sentence was, "It would be wise to," and that's his way of saying.
Yeah, so they gently kind of remind you this is what the plan is, and it's up to you to choose it or not. Nobody's judging, nobody's criticizing you. I think
No.
it's all like yourself in a way, you know, of that clear, flown, easy flowing process that it could be only if you're like in tune with your true nature.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's such a great way of expressing it because it's not about changing you or making you something else. It's not like you're faulty or wrong because I think we can get this idea that, you know, we're not good enough. But it isn't. It is about helping you to be who you really are, helping you to be that inside self. And it's always encouraging. You never criticize, never judged. You never fear asking a question. You know, you're never laughed at or nothing's ever swept under the rug or dismissed or told isn't valuable or important. But it's just such a wonderful journey that you can enjoy with your guardian angel. You know, some people just have so many questions that they want to ask. It's just, I've got so many questions, I just want to ask question after question after question. Some people just don't. Like me, I really am not someone who has lots of questions. Me and Eddie, my husband, laugh about this quite a lot. I've never been someone with lots of questions. I just haven't. And I think that's probably why I'm able to do what I do with others,
Yeah.
because I'm interested in helping people to be able to do it for themselves. I've always been like that as a person, you know, it's like I always wanted to help. I've always wanted to help. And for a long time in my life, helping people kind of meant me doing things for them, like helping,
Mm,
taking on responsibility, or
right.
just didn't want people to suffer, or
Like rescuing.
yeah, like rescuing, exactly. And that became impossible for me. I became exhausted, but not just exhausted, I became really resentful. And then it became an expectation. And I'm not talking about in the work situation, in my work life, I'm talking about just in daily life. You set up these crazy kind of dynamics where you're taking on and doing and doing and doing. But what I realized was that helping isn't about doing things for people, it's about helping them to do things for themselves. Like I've learned that as a parent.
Right.
Let's do that. Okay, yeah, that's great. We sit down and do it together. Together. That's one of my biggest words. Like, don't, not like, oh, go off and do it by yourself. And that's one of the joys of my work is that I love doing things together with people. There's so many people who just leave you on your own to like struggle, or they'll get you started and then they just kind of, I don't know, it's just weird how things can be in life now. You know, when I think about
Yeah.
programs that I've been involved in and like myself, it's just like, oh, I think they really like me and they really care and they really want to help me. And then once you're in, they don't. And that's just such a like makes you feel sick in your stomach when you're so disappointed by that like
Yeah.
reality. But I like doing things together because I know if I support someone, if I'm there, I do it together, we do it together, people get the result. People, all of the people that I mentor verbally channel. And I mentor people all the way until they are verbally channeling. And I love making that promise. I will mentor you every step of the way until you're verbally channeling, no exceptions. And
Hmm.
having that kind of confidence in what I do and the result that I can get for people is wonderful. And it does give people that confidence and that, and they relax because it's not like, oh, you got to do it in 30 seconds flat or I've only got so much time, I've only got so many sessions, you know, like I don't know about you, as soon as someone puts a stop clock on anything for me, my head's gone. I'm like, can't take a picture. But I really love just helping people, doing
Right.
things together. And that's been a big lesson for me, empowering people, doing things together, showing people how to do things themselves, getting them set up, getting them confident so they know exactly what they're doing. And then they're flying, they're off, they can do it on their own. But that's important, not trying to do things for people. And that's what your guardian angel is with you to do together. I mean, they're never going to leave you on your own once you're all set up. They're always going to be with you, doing something new, doing something more. But co-creating is what you're here to do with your guardian angel. They're not going to say, don't do this, but equally, they're not going to say, you must do this. The guidance is calm, it's next steps, it is honoring you and who you are as a person, helping you to accomplish your purpose. And the reason they do that is not just so that you can have the satisfaction of fulfilling your life purpose. It is so that because when you are, you contribute positively to the expansion of the
Right.
universe.
Yes, every one of us, if we step in our true power, right? Find that potential of who we can be and really start expressing ourselves without the fear of being judged or, not accepted, but really believing in your own skills and abilities and living that purpose every day, then I believe it's just a ripple effect. You shown with your example, you living your life is what people want to see as an evidence that they can live that life as well for themselves. And like you said, it's unique. We don't have to compare ourselves with other people. Your path is your path. You have your own purpose in life. And all those different circles that you mentioned, it's just different. Not saying everybody, somebody is better than another person. It's just unique, and you have to embrace that. Really be proud of who you are, knowing your significance here in this life. If you exist, that means it's for a reason, and you have to kind of, really be proud of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is about becoming who you've come here to be. And that is absolutely what your guardian angel will help you to be. Because when you are who you came here to be, you're going to thrive. You're going to have no barriers to you living the life that you came here to live. You're going to have great relationships. You're going to have financial flow. You're going to be satisfied and content. You're going to be healthy because that is what was always intended. And the moment that you step into that, you stop searching and things just start lining up in ways that haven't for ever. It's a beautiful process. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
And I think a lot of us think we are here alone and, nobody is helping us. And without this, daily support and guidance, we feel we're lost in life. And we just don't know what to do next. And only if everybody was taught that this is available to you 24/7, things would be different.
Yeah, they would be different. But you see, I was talking to my son the other day, or the other day, it was to do with the way that we live our life. And, you know, he said, I think it's amazing what we do, the way we travel, and we're, free. We do the things that we want to do, and we're able to do
Mhm.
that. But he said, if everyone did it, he said, it'd be chaos. He said, the world's not designed for everybody to do that. And it's true. Everybody can. Everybody can connect with their guardian angel, but it's
Mhm.
those that really choose to do things differently. It's those that choose to step forward and step into living life in a different way that see their lives become different. And it's interesting because when you think about awakening, there are people that are waking up and becoming aware, but there are those that never will, and that's fine. And we are all unique. And, one of the things that Tristan said to me a few years ago is that his role is to bring connection and unity, and not to create more fragments and differences, and for
Mhm.
there to be people to feel that they're wrong, because there are so many different perspectives in the world. But we are not all here to be the same. And there are some people who will find this work, who will hear this message, and it will resonate. And they will step up and take action, and their life will never be the same. It will be a miraculous experience of waking up and just going, I can't believe this is my life. I can't believe I created this change, that life can be this way. But it isn't for everybody. Nothing is. But if it does
Mhm.
feel like it's something that stirs something inside of you, then pay attention to that, because you can be moved towards discovering something that can really change your life forever, no matter how it shows up.
Yeah, definitely. And also be honest with yourself. Really, like, listen to how you speak to yourself and what you want in life, right? So really, like, give yourself a chance and opportunity to discover that, and maybe have more, like, feeling courageous to step into the unknown. That's what's required for you to really learn and get yourself out of that comfort zone in a way. But it will become just easier with time, as long as you are willing to change something in your life right now, because like you said, it's a co-creation and you are an integral part of that process. So it's required from you to have certain actions towards that direction. But how would you know it's what your direction is? So you kind of have to be more in tune with that internal voice, intuition, and the guidance to know, right? You have to have that knowledge deep inside of you that this is right.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I think you are, in terms of what can be telling you things in the world around you, the angels communicate in lots of different ways. The angels communicate through podcasts. The angels communicate through music. The angels communicate through numbers. That's a big way of them communicating. They're using all the inputs that are available to you as a human being to receive that kind of message that makes you stop and just question
Mm.
and just think and feel your way into something. And I think for me, the most important thing to do is to take a little step in that direction, to take a little step to trust yourself, to find out a little bit more. It's interesting. We're bombarded by so much stuff, aren't we? Like we all are in the
Yeah.
world, on the news, on the television, adverts,
Mm.
internet, everything. It's just, it's too much. It does your head in. It creates anxiety and stress. And so what can happen is to kind of like defend yourself against that. And I was doing this a little while ago. I kept saying no, 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 and just no to everything in the end, because I just can't deal. No, 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 no. And I was walking down the street in Peru, in Cuzco, which is one of the places that we went to visit. And when you walk along, it's one of them places where they're always handing out sheets, like information, like little flyers and stuff. Don't really get
Mm-hmm.
that in that many parts of the world now. But anyway, handing out all these flyers. And I took some of these flyers. And previously, because it's the same route as we used to walk every day, I'd be like, no, thank you, nothing. No gracias, no gracias, no gracias, no gracias, no gracias. And Eddie said, why are you taking them? We don't live here because we're traveling. And so, I think it was to do with college study or something that wasn't really significant to me. But I said, I keep saying no. I find myself, I keep saying no to opportunities, and opportunities do come up. They do present
Yes.
themselves. And a couple of days later, someone contacted me. Now, in the work that I do, I get a lot of people contact me to say, oh, do you want me to market this for you, or promote your book, or, the kind of things that you get when, or like,
Yes.
probably for you, and like lift up your podcast to more, all these kind of people who introduce themselves cold. You don't know who they are. They might be marketing people, and I get a lot of things like that. And I'm just no, no, no. And I got this communication from this guy who I've been working with now for a number of months, and he's amazing. And we're making amazing creative projects together, and we work well together. And I know that's because I stopped saying no, 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 no to everything. And I just allowed a little space to feel myself into opportunities to take a little step further. So just a little email. Oh yeah, no, I was just wondering about, and we had a conversation. But I think sometimes you say no to everything and you lose your confidence in your ability to make good choices. But I think the only way that you're ever able to move forward from that is if you just take a little step. And it does take courage, Annie, you're right. And it does mean that you're moving into something which is potentially unknown, knowing that if at any point you take a step in that direction and you don't want to go any further, you are perfectly within your rights to do so. Does that make sense?
Course, and it's just us willing to do that step, something that maybe sometimes you don't know why you're doing it, but you feel that pull, right? Like it's like your gut feeling in a way. But sometimes you want to know everything, and that creates the procrastination and anxiety. If you don't know every single step, you won't even bother like taking the first one. That's why I'm saying, like, for people to try and see for yourself what could come out of it. Maybe it's just some direction for you to meet certain people or find that different opportunity that come your way. But again, like if you have this pooling, like you can't just ignore that. You have to kind of like I don't know, just feel into it and maybe hear some guidance and see if that's something you should do.
Yeah, definitely. And the great thing is that once you're communicating with your guardian angel, you never need to second guess or doubt. You can get an answer to any question that you can apply to your life and see the complete evidence of. Even my husband is verbally channeling. Even
Mm.
my husband, right? He's been, I don't know whether the analogy I always use is if you've ever lived with a builder, you will know that your house is the last house to be decorated or renovated. Everything's half
Yeah.
done or doesn't even get started because it's your job. You go and you do
Right.
building works for other people. Similar thing with a guardian angel communicator. So because I'm a guardian angel communicator, because I teach other people how to do it, like I just don't get Eddie's the last person to get the help and attention that needs. Our kids come, their questions. But he had something, an area that he really wanted to explore. He knows his guardian angel, but he wasn't channeling. And he learned to channel because he was really driven and motivated to find out actually about the truth of astrology and astronomy. Okay, he's been fascinated by numbers and celestial bodies and Tristan gave him some information which really helped him. And then it was just like, oh no, I've just got to know more. So he was really motivated to learn to channel. And the complete confidence that he had in the process because of how many people I mentor and come up against their own little challenges and blocks, but always end up verbally channeling and graduating the program, gave him the confidence that he needed. And so sometimes it's just knowing that someone else has done it. Sometimes it's just knowing that someone else has got that result. And sometimes it's knowing that you can't get it wrong, that you can't lose. Like that's why I love promising people, I'll do it until you're doing it. And I just think that's a really rare, that takes away a lot of risk for people. Like it's not all on me. She's not going to say after this many goes and I'm not going to be the only person that can't do it. She's
Mm.
saying she'll carry on helping me all the way. And I think you just get a feel as to whether or not you and a person are going to fit or not, You get a feeling and you should always pay attention to that feeling.
Mm.
That's really important. But that trust that you develop through your relationship with your guardian angel is something that it happens over time. You're not just thrown into communication. There is a personal development angle, which is beautiful, that Tristan has woven into the program so that you are developing trust in yourself and your guardian angel, evidence-based, not like pretending or coercing or convincing. There's a beautiful process which is woven into the program and the process of channeling, which means that you can't get to where you want to get to unless you've reached a certain point, and only you know that. And that's a really beautiful part of the way that it all works. It's not
Mm.
pushing, forcing, making anything, rushing. You learn a process which helps you in all areas of your life. So yes, trust is very important. I agree.
Yes, and I'm glad we have the conversation today. And for those who would like to learn more about the program and connect with you online, how can they find you?
Yeah, so if you want to, my website is angelswithros.com. So you can have a look there. There's all stuff about angels and also the different ways that I can help you. I'm Facebook. If you'd like to come and say hi to me on Facebook, I'm Ros Place. That's my personal profile on Facebook. It's always great to connect with people there and to chat with people on there. And as you mentioned, Anna, I've got a YouTube channel
Yes.
where I share lots of meditations and some practices that can help people, which relate to channeling. And that is the Guardian Angel channel. But if you put Ros Place, then you'll find bits that might align and fit for you in terms of ways we can connect and I can help you.
Yes, thank you so much. I will also add in the show notes. And as we close today, what would be the final thought for our listeners?
Oh gosh, what would be the final thought? That it's all possible. That everything that you think inside and wonder whether it's true, and if it could be, it's all possible with your guardian angel. I promise you that.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy your day. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Stay tuned.